So good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining the TSheets and QuickBooks webinar. My name is JP, and I look after our app ecosystem on QuickBooks. This webinar is a series of webinars we're doing on our partners and on our most popular apps. And we're very pleased to introduce you to TSheets today. So if we go on the next slide. Just a few words of admin before we get started. So if you want to ask any question, there's a chat box on the side, and we will take all your questions at the end of the webinar. The webinar is recorded, so if you have a hard stop and need to leave, we will email you a recording. Finally, if you want to reach out to us to talk about apps, so you have an app you want to learn about and you want us to cover during a webinar, there's an app you want us to integrate with, or even if there's an app that's broken and you want to fix, you can contact me and my team through email. You can also join our Facebook group, and I will also be at the QB Connect. So if you have your tickets, you can meet me there, and the TSheets team will be over there as well. So with that, I'll pass it over to Sandy from TSheets. We will take you through the demo today. So an interesting fact, Sandy is Australian, but joined us all the way from Boise, Idaho in the US. So over to you, Sandy.
Thanks, JP. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. As JP mentioned, my name is Sandy Vo. I am part of our global marketing team at TSheets. We are headquartered in good old Boise, Idaho. You may not have heard that before, but I am originally from Melbourne, so Australia is definitely home to me, and I'm super excited to present TSheets to you guys. So really quickly, just a quick overview of what we're going to run through today. Basically, I'll give you a rundown on how TSheets was born, basically how it got created, and then we'll do a deep dive of the product training within TSheets, from scheduling, tracking the time, managing, and then reporting of the time, and then also integrating with QBO as well. And then we'll just wrap up after that to go through, who you think TSheets would be a good fit for, a couple benefits of becoming a TSheetsPRO and joining the TSheetsPRO program, which is free for accountants and bookkeepers. And then I'll just go over a couple case studies, testimonials there, and then how you can contact us as well. So further ado, a little bit about TSheets. So if you've never heard of us before, we are a cloud-based time tracking and scheduling solution. You can basically track time from anywhere on any device, whether that's a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone. And then we integrate with QuickBooks Online to streamline that time data for payroll and invoicing. So a little bit about TSheets specifically and how it all started. So this is a little photo of our CEO, Matt Rissell here. Some of you may have seen him or heard him before. It's definitely not the guy on the left, even though, you may have seen him recently. He is bald now. So he is the guy on the right there. And he actually founded TSheets in 2006. So we're about 12 years old now. And how it all started was Matt was actually a business owner himself, and he owned about, I believe it was 3 or 4 cartridge worlds. If you've never heard of that before, they're basically printing cartridge companies where you refill printing cartridges. I know back in the day where we printed a lot. And he had about 3 sites there with about 35 employees across the 3 sites. And it was really interesting one day, I believe it was leading up to a weekend, and one of his most loyal employees came by and said, hey Matt, hope you have a great weekend. I'm headed off now. And he noticed that his employee went over and put their time card in the manila folder and put it away on the shelf. And he thought to himself, man, what's the time? And so he looked at the clock and it was 4:45. And he was like, should I really look at my employee's time card? And he was debating back and forth. And when they left, he went over, opened the manila folder, checked the time card, and noticed that his most loyal employee put down 5 p.m. And what that means is, yeah, they rounded up to 5 o'clock. And not to be malicious or anything, it's just, you know, just an instinct to round up. He then thought to himself, what are my other employees doing? So he kind of creepishly camped out in his truck at his other locations. As his employees walked out, he checked their time cards. And, you know, each employee would fudge just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and even up to 30 minutes of time. And as a small to medium-sized business owner, he added all those minutes up, and he calculated that it was about $2,400 each payroll that employees were rounding up incorrectly. So to a small to medium-sized business owner across a whole year, that is thousands and thousands of dollars. And that could mean whether they leave their doors open or they close the shop. So he actually went out to one of his roommates back in college and called him, which is Brandon, who is the co-founder, called him and said, hey, can you create an application that allows my employees to clock in and out through a computer? And Brandon said, yeah, absolutely. I can build some code for that. You know, and basically Brandon built that out, really basic version. And they started tracking time through it. And Matt then gave over his timesheets of his employees to his bookkeeper. And when they ran payroll, he realized he saved $2,400. That is crazy. And it's funny because his bookkeeper looked at him and said, hey, can you sell this? And that is how TSheets began. Super cool story. It gives me chills every time Matt says it and shares that story with us. So just to give you a little background on how we started, you know, TSheets has been around for a really long time. That before SaaS was even a thing. So, you know, we've developed TSheets out quite well and is quite easy to use. We are located in Boise, Idaho. We have over 300 employees now, and we have customers in over 100 countries. So super exciting that TSheets is getting spread, not just in the US, but all across the world as well. And you all probably had heard that we got acquired by Intuit in January of this year. So we're super excited to work really closely with the QuickBooks teams in country as well. Perfect. So now that you know a little bit of background of TSheets, I'm now going to jump into the product training. So let me just close out of my slides. And as JEP said, as you have questions, feel free to ask them in the questions panel, and we'll make sure to answer them at the end of the webinar. Perfect. All right, so I'm logged in to my TSheets account. This is what we tend to call this the TSheets web dashboard. If you don't have an account yet, feel free to log in at tsheets.com.au, sign up for an Advisor Pro account, and we offer our TSheets Pros a free TSheets account for you to use internally. So if you're an accountant or bookkeeper that has clients to refer, feel free to log into that, and this is totally free for you. So just to get started, if you are a QuickBooks Pro advisor, you can integrate your TSheets account with your QuickBooks on QBOA account. So basically, you can go into here within TSheets, go find the QuickBooks Online integration, install that integration. It's a really, really simple integration. So basically, all you need to do is put in your username and password to your QBOA account, authorize the connection, and then it'll ask you what information do you want to bring over from QuickBooks Online. So you can select, you know, your customers, your employees, your service items, a billable option, and a class. So you can integrate and import those items from QuickBooks straight into TSheets. And then if you have vendors within QuickBooks Online, so suppliers, you can import them into TSheets as well. So it just allows you to customize what you do want to bring over and what you're hoping to track time against. So once you select those items, you just click on this drop down and click import. And once you import those over, they basically are connected. So when I go into TSheets now, instead of manually creating those employees, those customers, those service items, they'll automatically show up in TSheets now. So if I click on employees, all my employees will show here. My customers will show up here as well. So once you do that, now you can start tracking time. It's up to you if you want to connect to QuickBooks or not. So you can use TSheets as a standalone, or you can connect. So totally customizable to you. So now that I've actually imported my employees and customers over, the first thing you can do is actually schedule time. So usually in the process, you know, we work really well in the service industries, and you know, before tracking time, managers tend to want to schedule out their employees to make sure each employee knows, you know, what job they're working on, where they should be, and what time their shift is. So as you can see within the scheduling feature, really simple to use. You can see your employees show up on the left-hand side here, and then this is in a weekly view. So you can see I've set up my weeks to only be Monday through Friday because my employees don't work on Saturdays and Sundays. So you can customize the view to be that on just working days, or you can show the whole week. You can view these in a day view, week view, or a month view as well. But you know, it's really common and really popular for managers to, you know, schedule out the week in advance. So as you can see here, I've already got some shifts created for my employees. Obviously, some of these names of the employees are maybe familiar to you. This is obviously my demo account, so but you can pretend like we're tracking some famous people here as well. So you can see here that Chris has a few shifts scheduled for him throughout the week. It's really simple to create a shift. You can select on the box or the day that you want to create a shift. You can customize this as an all-day event. You can make this shift repeated. So if it's something that happens every single week, instead of creating the same one each week, you can make it repeat. You know, every fortnight, every third week, whatever it is, you can customize here. You can then select the start and end time. So maybe it's a 6 a.m. start, and then they are done at 2:30 p.m. So you can see it's the total hours is 8.5 hours. You can add a title here as well. So I'll just say morning crew. And then you can actually assign colors to the shift. So you can color coordinate, make sure, you know, maybe the colors are for the customers. So that way when you take a quick look, it's easy to differentiate. Select that color. You can create a shift and actually add multiple employees to one shift. So maybe it's that you have a crew of employees that are working the same shift. Instead of creating one for each one, you can do it. You can select multiple employees here as well. So maybe I'll create one for Caitlin. And it'll just ask you, you're creating a multi-shift. Any changes will be assigned to all employees. And so I have, and then I can select what customer that they're working on. So I'll just click Leroy's. And then our location field here is tied to like Google Maps, basically. So you can add a street here or road. I'm from the Williamstown area, so I'll just click 1 Melbourne Road, Williamstown. And then you can add any notes here as well. So maybe you can say, don't forget to bring your mittens. Whatever you want, you can definitely add all your notes here as well. And then you have the option to save as a draft or publish. So what that means is if I save it as a draft, you can see that it's not colored in. So what that means is that you can create shifts for just say the full week or the fortnight, and you can just review it once you're done, and you can make changes if you'd like. So for example, Q shouldn't work this. I'll drag and drop it to Wednesday. And then, you know, once I feel that as though this looks great and it's ready to go, it's ready to inform my employees, then you want to publish it. So publishing just means that a notification will get sent to that employee to inform them of that shift. So you can publish the week, or you can view the day, for example. So for Monday, you can see all my shifts here. You can drag and drop. You can pull it back, make it longer. It's really, really, easy to use there. You can see the total hours per employee as well, which is helpful. But once everything looks good, you can just go ahead and click publish, and it'll ask you whether you want to notify your employees or not. So you can click send, and they'll get a notification through the app or through an email as well. So up to you. And then once that's published, that is in the schedule, they'll be able to view their shifts through the app as well. Super simple. So once you've scheduled your employees, now they can actually start tracking time. Or if you don't want to use the scheduling feature, you can just go ahead and start tracking time. So it's not dependent of each other. You can use them separately as well. So a couple ways, like I mentioned earlier, you can track time through a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone. So quickly, on the computer, we have this called the My Time Card. This is more of a punch clock, so you can capture that start and stop time. So you can see my customers pulled up here. I'll go ahead and clock into pint of milk, and you'll now see my time start ticking over. So you'll have a timestamp of when that employee clocked in of 11:17 a.m. I actually have a rounding feature on, so when you do integrate with QuickBooks Online, it just rounds to the minute, so you don't have it, per second, I guess. So now you can see my current time is ticking over. You can view your day totals and week totals as well. So if ever you're concerned about overtime, or your clients are concerned about overtime, it's always a great indicator to check those totals as well. You can also see service items are pulled up here. So those service items were pulled from QuickBooks Online. You can select, especially if you're working with your clients, maybe you want to see how much time you're spending on their payroll, their taxes, like BAS, for example. You can track this specifically for each client as well. But for your clients specifically, maybe they want to track certain activities or tasks they're working on with their customers. You can just customize it here as well. So I'll just say I'm working on their payroll, and you can select whether the time was billable or not. So I'll say, yes, this time is billable. And then you can add notes here as well. Easy payroll. Okay, and that note will automatically save to that timesheet. So it's really that simple. Another way you can track time is through the app. So let me just pull up my phone really quick. Hopefully you can see my phone here. So basically I'm logged in onto my app as Chris Hemsworth. So you can see I'm already clocked in. You can view your totals here, 2 hours and 38 minutes on the job that I'm currently working on. And then you can view my day totals, and you can then select what customers you're working on, and then whether there's a billable option and those service items as well. So once you've clocked in, maybe you worked on Leroy's, but now you have moved to another client. You can easily just click switch, select another customer, just say pint of milk, select all that different information there, and then click save, and basically you will switch jobs. So a couple other things here as well. The mobile app is very simple. Depending on how you customize your account, you can track breaks. As you can see, a take a break option there. So if you want your clients or your employees to track their lunch breaks or rest breaks, you can customize that within TSheets as well. A couple other things I wanted to show you. So on the overview tab, this is where you can just view, the information around your day totals as well, and then the pay period. You can also view your schedule here for the day or the full schedule as well. So, and then below here, you can see the time broken out by customer. So you can see, most of my time was spent at Pint of Milk instead of Leroy's. So it's just a quick little overview there. And then you can track paid time off as well. So any leave you have, I can view my annual leave, my personal leave, public holidays, I guess, or sick leave. I wish I had 445 annual leave hours. I'm sure that would be a nice life to have. But that's just the overview tab. You also can view your timesheets. this is also permission based. So if you are the admin and you just want your employees to view their timesheets, they can do that here. If you want to allow them to edit their timesheets, you can provide them that permission as well. And that way they can select the timesheet and make edits as well. Here's the schedule tab. Chris is actually a manager of a crew. So what that means is he actually can manage certain employees that you've set up within TSheets. So you can see, multiple employees have this morning crew. You can see Chris and Caitlin have that. Make edits to the schedule here as well. And then that way it'll auto-populate and send a notification if you made any edits too. You can see the ones that aren't colored in. So this one here, Ellie and Caitlin, who I manage as well, or Chris manages, you can view their schedule here as well. So really, really easy. If you are a mobile, worker or a manager, you can basically manage your employees out in the field as well through the mobile app. So you don't always have to be at a computer. And then lastly, just speaking of managers, you can click more here and managers will see this crew feature. So this crew feature will show you your team. So you can see here, my team has Caitlin, Boomer, and then I have Morgan. So I can see, maybe we're traveling together, we carpool to the client site. I can click all my employees, and clock them in at one time. I can clock them out. So for example, I'll clock Morgan in and select what job, select whether it was billable, no, and say hours. Okay. And then clock in. One user clocked in. So now Morgan's clocked in. So like I said, you can manage out in the field, really, really simple ways of doing that too. You can clock them out. You can take breaks with them. This is really handy for construction workers or, like I said, service-based industries where they do travel in crews, where, one person can basically manage their whole team. Pretty cool. So that's a mobile app. Another way you can track time is, like I mentioned earlier, is through a tablet. So we actually have a feature called a TSheets time clock kiosk. So this is really, really helpful for clients that maybe have multiple different sites. So, employees have to be on site when they're working because they shouldn't be working remote. Then the kiosk is actually a really great tool. So I already have it installed. You can use it on a computer, laptop, or a tablet, but it's most popular used on a tablet. There's an app there. I'll just click time clock kiosk here. You can see my setup here. I've got a few devices that you can set up the kiosk. You can then actually assign the kiosk to employees. So what that means is maybe site 1, there's 8 employees there. Only those 8 employees work at that site. So it doesn't make sense that other employees can clock into that kiosk. You can basically customize all of that. So as you can see here, I have my main office, my Melbourne office, my TSheets office. You also have an option to turn on facial recognition, which is a really fun feature that we released not too long ago. Super popular in regards to, eliminating buddy punching. So instead of employees that are friends clocking each other in, it will actually take a photo as soon as they clock in, which I will show you right now. So let me launch the kiosk. You will see my face. So for example, I think all my employees are clocked in. So let me just click Morgan. And so you can set up a 4-digit PIN for your employees. So they just select their name, put in their 4-digit PIN. And you can see me here. They will just select the job that they're working on, select the service items, a billable option. Because I'm already clocked in, it's asked, my options are to switch my job, take a break, or clock out. So as soon as I clock out, I'll smile. Oh, submit my time or clock out. I'll just clock out. Oh man, look at my face. eyes shut and everything. That's so pretty. Hopefully that gave you guys a laugh. Anyway, so once that employee's clocked out, basically the next employee can go in and clock in or clock out. So, you know, for example, if Caitlin or I'll just select Morgan again. She's the only one clocked out. Perfect. So you can see my, oh, where's my camera? Sorry. Back in. And then they will
Hey Sandy, this is JP. I think your connection is dropping a bit and your audio is cutting off. Do you want to check if there's anything running on your laptop? Hang on, everyone. I'm just chatting to Sandy, and we're fixing the sound and the connection. I just sent you a message, Sandy, but essentially we kind of lost you around the time where you were showing the webcam and trying to clock in again. And let me know if you're speaking because we can't hear you right now. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me okay?
You're back. Yep, you're good.
Perfect. Sorry about that. Of course, that happens on a live demo. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay now. So I'm just logging back in. Perfect. All right. So as you guys could see, you know, the kiosk runs great. We have facial recognition available on the kiosk as well. So your employees can clock in with a simple 4-digit PIN, and you know, as soon as they clock in or clock out, you know, it'll capture their photo as soon as they select clock in and out. So that's another way of tracking time. So basically, once you've tracked time, it's really simple to manage. As an administrator or a manager on the account, you can actually view all your employees on your Who's Working window here. So this window is, I know it looks small, but it has so much information within such a small window. You can capture who's on the clock, how long they've been working for that day, what job they're currently working on, and then how much time they've been working on that specific job. And then, like I mentioned earlier, if you do track time through the mobile app, you'll be able to view your employees' GPS locations as well. So this is really handy for service industry companies where people are out in the field and they're working on different clients throughout the day and they're traveling out. You can click on this map button, and this map will show all your employees on one map. So it's really cool here. Obviously, I'm located in the States. You can see which employees are there. We can see Hugh Jackman here is located in Australia, and you can then zoom in. So, if you have multiple employees in one spot, or you want to see, where these 3 employees are, you can click on them and it'll automatically zoom in here. And then you can see 2 employees are in a cluster here. So basically, once you click on them, it'll zoom into where their location is. So when I zoom back out, it should cluster in 2. And there was 1 extra employee out here to the right somewhere. There you go. And you can see another employee here is clocked in. So you can always verify if they're at the correct location, or even in the construction industry, it's helpful to make sure that your employees are safe. And if they're spending too much time in one location and you know that it shouldn't have taken that long, maybe it's just a great reminder to give them a call and make sure everything is going well and that they're safe. And then if you want to dive deeper into an employee's GPS location, if I close out of this and select the employee, you'll then see this double balloon icon. And if I click on that, it'll now show a breadcrumb trail of that employee's GPS points from the point that they clocked in, and then the movements throughout the day as well. So if I zoom in here a little bit, you can see that Chris clocked in at this green marker here. You can click on the points, see what date, time that point was pulled, the accuracy of the point, and then the device. And then all these other blue dots right here as well are other points that got pulled throughout the day. So then you can see the time, verify that there, and then the movement too. So clearly I drove up the road, and you can click on these points here and see those points as well. And here is my location right now. So, obviously it pulls quite a few points here, going back and forth, but you can always verify, and that's what I mean. This information is super helpful for people that have employees out in the field. And this is not necessarily a live feed. So what that means is, as soon as an employee clocks out, you'll see a red dot and it'll be, we stop tracking their GPS, but you can then view these GPS points at any time. So, for example, if you wanted to double check a timesheet from last week, and you wanted to view the GPS points, you can do that as well. So the GPS points basically don't disappear once they clock out. Perfect. So that's basically it on the managing of TSheets. Really simple. There are other ways you can view time too within the time entries. So you can definitely play around there. But lastly, I wanted to go through the reporting side of TSheets. So for example, we have, I believe we have about 40 reports you can run within TSheets. So all that time data that gets captured, especially against customers and service items and classes, you can break that down into these reports. So we have multiple you can run reports on, but we do have our top 3, most favorite reports that get run in TSheets, which is our approvals report, payroll report, and project report. So I will run through our approvals and project report. So the approvals report, it's really simple to use. You can just filter it by week, pay period, or a custom date range. I'll just do it by week and then run it for last week. If you leave the employee field blank and this is selected as all employees, it should run for everyone and then run the report. What's so helpful about the approvals report is that it just quickly gives you a rundown on how much time was worked by each employee for that week. And if you have, overtime set up, you can then see that overtime is highlighted in red. So this basically just flags you to maybe double check, if that employee should have worked any overtime. Excuse me. So for example, with Ellie here, you can click view details and then show a breakdown of her time as well. So you can see a job breakout, the hours broken out here as well, and then the overtime details, and then each individual timesheet worked as well. If something didn't look right, you can just hover over the timesheet and click on the pencil icon, this just allows you to edit the timesheet. So you don't need to keep going back and forth. If you do check your timesheets here, you can edit them right on the spot, or you can even add timesheets here as well. But if everything looks good to you, you can just go ahead and approve the time. It basically locks the time down. But I did want to share with you that TSheets is embedded within QuickBooks Online. So what that means is instead of approving the time here within TSheets, you can actually approve the time straight within QuickBooks. So you don't even need to export that time. As soon as that time's been tracked within TSheets, it'll automatically populate in QuickBooks, which I will show you guys here in a minute. So the next report I did want to go over really quickly is the project report. So the project report allows you to filter the time data down by those, those service items or whether the time was billable or not, or if you have classes sent over, you can filter by that as well. But the filters are pretty simple, same as the approvals report. I'll just do it by week and do the previous week. And for the sake of showing you the full report, I'll just run the report. And this just breaks it down into pie charts. So you can see the time being broken down by customer. And quickly, I can see that 42% of our time was spent at Pint of Milk. It gives you a little bit more intel and insight into where your time is being spent within your business and then within your clients' businesses as well. So you can see groups here. If you have your group set up, it'll break down there as well. And then your employees, so pretty even between my employees, whether your time's billable or not. So if you want to check how many hours you spent were billable compared to not, and then your service items here as well. So 65% of our time was hours. But for example, maybe within your firm or your practice, you can see that most of your time is being spent lodging BAS or taxes or payroll. You can definitely filter that down here as well. So if I wanted to look at this real quick and say, hey, why was it that we spent most of our time at Pint of Milk? I can just select it, and then it'll filter it down by Pint of Milk specifically, and then you can dive deeper into that data. If you don't like the pie charts, you can actually view these as timesheets instead. So you can just click View Timesheets here, and it'll show a running total for each individual employee here. Perfect. So that's the project report. Hopefully that was really helpful for you to see. So basically I walked you through basically importing your information from QuickBooks into TSheets, scheduling the time out, and then having your employees track their time, whether it's through the computer, through a tablet within the kiosk, or through the mobile app. And then once they've tracked the time, you as a manager or admin can manage that time and then run reports on it here as well. So basically, if you are ready to run payroll or to invoice those hours, like I mentioned, TSheets is embedded into QuickBooks Online. We are the only time tracking software that's embedded into QBO. So we're super excited about that. And we're so excited because it helps streamline that process for you as, TSheets pros, and then for your clients as well. It just eliminates those few couple steps they have to do to export their time over. So as you can see, I've already tracked some time. I can jump over to my QuickBooks account. And if you did want to connect your QBOA account or your client's QBO account to TSheets, you can either do it through TSheets or you can do it within your QuickBooks account. So as you can see here, I'm in the app section of my QBOA account. You'll see TSheets time tracking here as well, which means that you can basically provision your apps within QBOA, and you can get a discount on the wholesale pricing as well. So you can click on TSheets time tracking, and then this window will pop up here and just tell you a bit more about TSheets specifically. You can click Get App Now, and you have a couple options here. So you can install TSheets for your firm, and if you want to use it for your firm, just select this box here and click Install. This will basically help get you signed up for that TSheetsPRO account, which is free for you and your practice. So you can use that internally, And I'll go through the benefits of being a part of our TSheetsPRO program. But if you didn't want to do that, but you wanted to install TSheets for your client, untick that box and install it for your client. So you can then select the client that's within your QBOA account. And if you do wholesale pricing, you can get this discount off as well. And just click install. So for example, I'll click Sandy Books here and click install. It'll open up a new window for you and basically ask you a couple questions, from your first name to your last name, and then create your own TSheets web address. So that'll be your unique URL to log into TSheets, and then connect your account. So this is if you already have a TSheets account. If you want a brand new one, you can just create one here and go through the steps to set up your pro account there. So pretty straightforward there. So like I mentioned, if you wanted to, if you're ready to run payroll, basically, let me just click on my employees over here. You'll then see this plus icon here on the top right hand corner. If you click on this, you'll now see this approved time feature underneath employees. So you won't see this unless you connect your TSheets account with your QuickBooks account. So once you've done that, click on approved time. And all that time that's been tracked within TSheets will automatically show up here in QuickBooks. So you can just select those filters by week, pay period, or custom date range. Select the time, whether it's this week. And then if I click on Chris here, you can then see the timesheets that got pulled over. If I click on the time, you'll also see the information from the customer, the service items are billable, and then you can view those DPS points too. So you don't have to go back and forth from TSheets to QuickBooks. You can view all that information here within within QuickBooks, sorry. And then if there were any notes here added, you can see them here as well. Pretty awesome. So once everything looks good, you can go ahead and approve the time. You can batch approve if you'd like. So that means that you can select all your employees and approve the time at once instead of going one by one. But once the time's been approved, you can then run it for payroll. The other item that you could use the time data for is invoices. So you can click on sales here. And any hours that you were tracking and you selected that those hours were billable, they will get pulled over into QuickBooks too. So all you need to do here is select the customer that you want to invoice. So for example, Leroy's. You'll then see all those billable hours populate to the right-hand side here. So you can then choose which hours you want to invoice. So I can click add. I can click add all. I could just select a couple here. And those service items is what holds the rate. So you created the service items within QuickBooks, added the rate there, and then when you pull the hours over, you'll then see the rate multiplied by the hours here. Pretty awesome. And then once you're ready, you can just go ahead and save and send, and that invoice is sent out to your client or your customer. Pretty cool. Perfect. Awesome. So that's basically it. Hopefully that was super helpful. Sorry for the minor glitch, with the internet connection there, but hopefully you were able to see, how we automate the process of not only capturing the time data, but making sure that that time data is correct as well, and making it easy for your employees to track time and not filling out paper timesheets and Excel spreadsheets, and having to submit that, in the office all the time. So they can access this from anywhere on any device, and you can streamline all that time data within your accounting solution, so you don't have to manually input those hours. So I'm going to jump back to my presentation really quick. And the next thing I wanted to go over is, who is TSheets a good fit for? So you obviously could tell, I mentioned that TSheets is really good fit for people in, construction, landscaping, manufacturing, because the kiosk is a really good fit there. If you have just basically a mobile workforce, if you have employees that are out in the field and you don't have any visibility in what they're doing, TSheets is a great, helpful tool for them. If you have any businesses or clients that are currently using paper or spreadsheets, we would be a great solution to, help streamline that process for them. So get them off that paper, get them off the spreadsheets. It'll help save them time and money, but it'll also help you as their advisor. If you're running their payroll or if you're helping managing their books, it'll help you save you time as well. And then, we know there's around 800,000 Aussie businesses tracking their time this way. So we want to be that point solution for them. So, if you do have clients that may be a bit hesitant, know that there is a free trial, a free 14-day trial they can test with TSheets. And if they need more time, we can definitely help you with that. Make sure that they could test it out with maybe a couple of their employees for a pay period or two, so they can really see how beneficial it is themselves. And then a little bit about the TSheetsPRO program. So this would be for you as accountants and bookkeepers. So we offer our TSheetsPROs a free TSheets account for life. And you have a couple, options here on when you refer clients. So basically, if you refer a client to TSheets and they activate, so they start paying for their TSheets account, you can earn a 20% commission for each activated referral for 12 months. And then you have an optional 10% pass along discount. So that's just for you being part of our pro program. You'll have a unique affiliate link that you can share out to your clients. So that's how you'll get credit or, basically get linked to their accounts. And then we also have a wholesale option too. So if you do pay for your clients' accounts within TSheets, you will actually receive a 25% discount for life, which is super popular as well. When you sign up to become a TSheetsPRO, you will get dedicated support and a dedicated account manager. They will be your point of contact if you have any questions or you need help with a client. If you want them to demo to your client and help get them set up, they will take care of you. So you'll get the special VIP treatment. And then for some of you that may have seen us at conferences or road shows, we are known to have the softest t-shirts in the world. So I know TSheets sounds like t-shirts, and sometimes people do get mixed up whether we are time tracking or a t-shirt company. We do have the softest shirts ever. So, we'll make sure to send that out to you. Or if you guys are at QB Connect in Sydney next month, I will be there, our team will be there, and we'll have plenty of shirts to give out. So definitely stop by the booth and we'll make sure you get gifted with some cool swag. And I heard we've got some socks there too, which is a big hit at the conferences. So a little bit more. So that's a bit about our TSheetsPRO program and why it's beneficial to you. Here's our pricing on the side here. So we do charge by per active user per month. So basically anyone logging in and tracking their time. And then there's a base fee here as well. We have a monthly option and then an annual pricing, which gives you a 20% discount. So if you are interested in getting that free TSheets account for yourself, just go to www.tsheets.com.au/advisors. Sign up there, get that free account. I know the QuickBooks team will shoot you an email too with this link in case you don't jot it down here, and we'll walk you through signing up for the Pro account as well. And then lastly, a couple case studies and testimonials. You guys may have, met Diane Lucas or Graham Meredith in the past. They're part of our TSheetsPRO program. I did want to share Graham's note specifically because when he joined TSheets, he shared this awesome quote on, how TSheets helped him. So the TSheets product is simply brilliant. And I mean, it is simple and brilliant. Last week was our first week of using TSheets, and I'm proud to tell you it has helped increase our billings in excess of 20%. This means we have an additional $1,500 in 1 week, which if extrapolated over a year is an extra $78,000. An extra $78,000 without doing anything differently. Best decision we have ever made. Super cool story. If you aren't tracking your own time when you're spending it with your clients, whether you're on an hourly fee model or you're on value-based, it's always good to see exactly how much time you're spending on with each client. And if you're on value-based, it's always good to see if you're quoting correctly too. So making sure that you are tracking your time and reevaluating. Sometimes you're quoting every 2 or 3 months. It's always good to make sure that you're billing and not cutting yourself short. And then we have Diane here who shared TSheets is a no-brainer. At Direct Management, we are always on the lookout for apps that can provide our clients with solutions to enhance their business productivity. TSheets is one of those apps. With a cloud-based app that's a direct sync to QBO, it's a no-brainer. But it's not only about timesheet entry. There are so many great features, including GPS tracking. The support is great too, so you are never left on your own. So if you know if you know Diane and Graham, feel free to reach out to them. I'm sure they can help you if you have any questions as well. But we'll be here for you as well. So to wrap up, we do have support for you. We are only closed 4 hours of the day, but we are open 7 days a week. So give us a call on 1-800-989-143, or feel free to email us on help@tsheets.com.au. And our team are awesome. We have over 14,000 5-star reviews. And it's because our customer support are amazing. So feel free to give us a call or shoot us an email. We're more than happy to help. But like I mentioned earlier, we will be at QBC Sydney. So if you are attending, feel free to stop by the booth. We'd love to meet you in person. And now I will stick around to answer some questions.
Cool, thanks, Annie. And I think so. We have 7 minutes, and there's about 15 questions. So I'll let you kind of open the question list, but there should be enough time to spend 30 seconds on each.
Perfect, will do. All right. So it looks like. So Edward asked, can I get the weekly roster cost for the shifts using hourly rates? So great question, Edward. So we don't necessarily pull the hourly rates for the employees into TSheets from QuickBooks. That's mainly housed in QuickBooks. But if you want, you can actually set up those rates within TSheets and pull reports on that as well. So you can see, budgeted shifts compared to the hours that you've set up there as well. And then Loretta had a question. Does the time track per 5 minutes, and then can we see a daily or weekly report on all employees? Great question, Loretta. So you can set it up and customize within TSheets, whether you want to round it up to 5 minutes or round down to 5 minutes or to the nearest 5 minutes. So if you'd prefer that, you can definitely customize that within TSheets, and then run whether a daily report, weekly report, pay period report, or a custom date range too, and see, how much time is spent on each employee. So Robert had a question. What if you forget to clock out or take a break? Can you adjust the time? Absolutely. So, TSheets is permission-based. So what that means is if you have certain employees that are hourly and maybe you don't want them to adjust the time, you as the admin or administrator can adjust the time. But if you have employees that you don't mind if they update the time, their timesheets, you can just allow them that permission and they can do so. But you can also set up notifications if they do update their timesheets too. So you can see what they changed it to and from. Perfect. Mark asked to cover how a time-based invoice is generated. Hopefully you were able to see, you know, the billable hours that was tracked in TSheets and how that automatically shows up within QuickBooks Online. So you can pull those billable hours onto that invoice per customer. Let's see here. Samantha had a question on, does this only track while clocking in till checking out? I'm assuming, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Samantha, you may be referencing our GPS tracking. So we only track GPS from clocking in throughout the day and then till the point that they clock out. As soon as they clock out, we stop tracking their GPS. You know, we've had some funny stories of people forgetting to clock out, and you know, that puts onus on the employee. But you know, you can set up clock out reminders so that way, if employees do tend to forget to clock out, you can set those reminders up for them. Isabel had a question: is the employee tracking dependent on the quality of the internet in the area and speed? So great question. So basically, you can track time from anywhere on any device. So what that means is, if you are maybe in rural areas or you lose reception, for example, you can still access TSheets on your phone and clock in. It may not show up on the web dashboard right away, but as soon as you connect to Wi-Fi or you have reception again, it'll sync all that time over into TSheets, so on the web dashboard. Perfect. So Adrienne had a question: can you see schedules by location store to make sure all shifts are covered in the store? Absolutely. So you can view it in an employee view, which I showed you earlier, but then you can actually change that to a customer or location view. So basically, that way you can see your customers and then the shifts that are covered for that customer, and that way you make sure that you have coverage throughout the day for each store. Sylvester had a question in regards to billable rate to customer. Do we set it in QBO or TSheets? Great question. You'll be setting up that billable rate within QBO. So that rate will lie under the service item. So I believe if you go to sales and there should be products and services, you can set it up within the products and services and just put that billable rate there.
Sandy, you want to take one last question, and what we do, we'll take the whole list and we'll answer the rest offline. That's okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Excellent.
Let me pick a lucky one. Let's see. Oh, there's some good ones. Let's see. Trying to find someone that I haven't answered yet. So we have a question from Susan. I don't think I've answered a question from Susan yet. So could TSheets be used for clinic room bookings rather than just for an employee? Or perhaps for both clinic room bookings and room hire to see when rooms are booked and availability? So that's a really good question. So, you know, our scheduling solution is constantly getting, you know, new features added to it. This is one that has been requested quite a bit in regards to availability and bookings. I know it's on the roadmap right now to be building out the availability, the bookings is coming soon too. So for right now, we are only scheduling, you know, by employee and customer right now. So hopefully that helps. All right, I can stay on and just answer the questions that we have left, JP, through the chat box. But hopefully this was really helpful to everyone.
Feel free to answer if it's not too late for you. As I say, we can send a recording to everyone, and also just in writing all the answers to the email. So if it's not too late, you're more than welcome to stay a few more minutes.
Okay, sounds good. But I wanted to say thank you to everyone for joining. And JP, if you want to wrap us up, you can go ahead.
Won't have much to say. So as you mentioned, we will both be at QuickBooks Connect. So if you want to continue the conversation, please say hello, and I can confirm that T-Sheets have the most comfortable T-shirts. So grab one. So thanks everyone for spending the time with us, and hopefully we'll see you on another webinar soon.